We welcome you to today's Flourishing Hub. Thank you so much for watching Church of Uganda Family TV from morning up to this time. This is the Flourishing Hub. Flourishing Hub is brought to you by Young and Flourishing Foundation, and this program is centered around improving your mindset as a young person so that you can thrive through this world. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name, and I'm glad that you are right there watching us, wherever you're watching us from, or whether you're watching us on your phone. I know some of you are stuck in traffic jam. It is a cold evening and traffic jam is everywhere, all over on the roads. So wherever you're watching us from, thank you so much. And I believe you've made the right choice to keep it on Church of Uganda Family TV, and specifically Flourishing Hub this evening, because your life is not going to remain the same. Your mindset is not going to remain the same, because that is our biggest objective in this program, improving your mindset as a young person. And this evening we are joined in with someone who is our friend. He has been here for a couple of days, and we've been with him. He has shared with us a lot of information, and he has shared with us part of the knowledge he has when it comes to improving your mindset as a young person. And even in this cold evening, he's right here with us. Join me as we welcome Dr. Benita Rumanzi. Dr. Benita, we are excited that we have you today in Flourishing Hub. Once again, we had you 2 weeks back when you were fresh from France, and now we have you again.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, how is your evening?
Oh, good evening, viewers.
Yes.
I am Benita Rumanzi, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks to Church of Uganda Family TV for this opportunity to share with the people the nuggets of truth that will be able to change the mindset of the young people. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much, Edrine, for hosting me tonight.
So how is the African Population Institute?
African Population Institute, we are actually doing well. Yeah, this is a season. We are just recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, and the students are returning and they're coming back from their long holidays, and we hope for the best. So I bring you greetings from my family. Yeah, my wife Irida Rumanzi and my 4 sons. Yeah, I know they are here watching. So hi guys. Thank you.
I send them greetings too. So Doctor, today we are looking at a quite sensitive topic when it comes to mentoring entrepreneurs, because very many of us have gone to school, and some of the key things they teach us are functional writing. How do you write an application letter? How do you write a CV? How do you prepare for a job interview? But a few institutions come up to teach us how to start a business, how to be your entrepreneur, meaning that how to be the entrepreneur yourself. This means that when we are in school, they train us to look for jobs.
Oh yeah.
But it is on rare cases that they train us to be our own bosses, even when you cannot find jobs. And we've had very many groups of young people who come up to riot. Like there is unemployed brothers, there is the poor brotherhood, and all that. They've done a lot of funny things to communicate that we do not have jobs, we are unemployed. And I think they've ended up in prison and all that because they are breaking the law. So this evening we want to help you know how to be an entrepreneur. We want to equip you with the entrepreneur's mindset, and that is why we are looking at what it takes to start a business as a young person, because this show is around young people 18 to 35 years. We believe that your mindset can still be improved. So Doctor, we started at what it takes to start a business. Even before we get into the mindset of an entrepreneur, we look at business as a broad word, as a broad English word. What is a business?
I think, Edrine, let's first define what an entrepreneurship means.
I'd reserved that for the entrepreneur's mindset.
Because I was looking at it like an entrepreneur is someone who is able to look at a problem and then solve that problem and earns from it. That is the easiest way I can.
You look at the problem.
You look at the problem, then think of how the problem can be solved, and you earn from that problem. That is what an entrepreneurship means. So an entrepreneur mindset now comes to what can you do that will bring you returns, returns to investment.
Yes.
So instead of looking at the white collar jobs and what the world offers you, just look at the opportunities where you will have to change your mindset from the traditional way of looking for jobs, but now start something that will pay you. How do you do that?
You've talked about turning away from the traditional way of seeing things.
Yeah.
That in school we grew up, I want to be a pilot, I want to be this, I want to be this. I've studied, I've achieved, I've graduated, but I cannot find this job. Is that the traditional way you're talking about? Yes.
Now you're like, let me study this course, and when I finish, I will take my CV and application somewhere and look for a job.
We even start writing applications and sending them all over before our final papers.
Yes. So that is a mindset we are here to change. A mindset from the youth. We want to teach them to become entrepreneurs. Yes. That even when you're lucky and you finish school or you complete your education and get a job, but you can still do something like a side business, or you can still become your own boss and make some money. So for this case, I would say the mindset of an entrepreneur is the ability to maintain a positive attitude towards work.
Ability?
To maintain a positive attitude towards work. So for this case, I would distinguish between a job and work.
Exactly.
Yeah, a job is where you are sure I am going to work and at the end of the day they are going to pay me. But work is when you are result oriented. You're looking at what have I accomplished, and what you have completed will be the one to determine how much you'll be paid.
Are you trying to mean that when I set my targets and I accomplish them, for example, when I was leaving home in the morning, I had a couple of things that I wanted to achieve within this day. When I accomplish them, is that work or job?
It depends on how you take it. For you left home to do your job, right? Because you are employed here at the Church of Uganda Family TV, and then you know these are the tasks.
Yeah.
But there is when you know that this is a challenge that is at hand and it needs to be done. You are looking at it not because of how much you're going to be paid, but you are passionate to solve a problem. And because of that, at the end of the day, there are returns to that investment of time and passion that you've put in. You're paid towards that. Not at the end of your month, a monthly salary that you're going to receive, but you need to be result oriented. And maybe say, if I woke up in the morning prepared to come to work, am I just going to sit on my desk because there is a lot of work on my desk? Or what else can I do during the course of the day that can give you an extra income? I'm not discouraging young people who are working in offices right now to start thinking of how they can quit. You can still stay in your office, but still do a side business that will help you. I have seen there is a time when on Uganda Airlines, it featured a man who was selling grasshoppers.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was going to Dubai on an expo. And that man was selling grasshoppers simply because for him he didn't want just to sit in the plane like other people are seated.
Waste his air ticket.
And like maybe he was also going to attend the expo, but he said, what can I do that can add extra coins in my pocket? So that is the mindset of an entrepreneur that we need to look at.
You look at the problem.
At a problem.
And then you devise ways
Yes.
of solving this problem.
Yes, look at the need.
The need.
In the house. When you solve that need, for sure you'll be paid for it.
Wow. So very many of the young people fear to start. Early this morning I was reading Herbert Sabiti's Twitter, and he posted something to which read, "The most profitable business is that business you have not tried." And it challenged me because we look at businesses, very many times we look at businesses as, this business must be profitable because we think those who are doing it have earned a lot of money out of it. And I think this is part of the mindset that we want to demystify this evening, where young people have categorized businesses and have feared to start to invest in some because they know these ones are non-profitable. It is these ones that are profitable.
Yeah, we had young men when we were in school who used to come with cameras, and those cameras,
as in still cameras,
still cameras, during the senior 5, senior 6 there. So during the holidays, this cameraman would take your photos, and when he's coming back, he will have developed them, and when he comes back, he knows that students have some money, and they pick some money from them. Right now, I want to tell you that those people are very far in the business. They started with that, but they kept on progressing in life. And right now, you can see where they are. So that is the mindset of an entrepreneur. Even when you are still young, you only need to be creative. You have an open mind to anything that happens. And then you are like, when others are complaining, when others are lamenting about the existing problem, for you are like, no, this problem can be solved. You can even start as Nachewa, as a volunteer. You're trying to solve this problem. I am really glad about this gentleman. There is a gentleman during COVID-19 who decided to fumigate Entebbe Grade B hospital. And he decided to fumigate it. At that time, he was using his own resources. But later on, people came in to support him. And I'm sure at the end of it all, when he took the medal, he went back home also with something to put on the plate for his children. And his name has not remained the same. So he looked at the problem, he looked at the need, tried to solve it, and it rewarded him. The reward may not be financial per se, but it may be in kind. Even a good name. Building a name is not something to play around with, because the Bible tells us that a good name is better than what? Riches. Rubies. So, if he did that, anyone else can do it. So that is the mind of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who looks at a problem and looks at money from that problem.
Being an entrepreneur doesn't mean, this is now a question, you want to mean that it is not when I look at someone doing a business and I copy what they are doing and I do the same, am I not an entrepreneur?
If you copy what other people are doing, chances are you may fail. Why do I say so? You don't know what they have gone through to build such business empire, and what inspired them to start such a business. So for that case, I would say it is better to have an open mind. Yes, I can even come to your business, see what you're doing, but I will just look at what you are not doing better. And I think of the ways to improve what you're doing. That one makes me a different person. I'm in your business, but I look at what you're not doing well, then I improve on it. So that one comes out of curiosity. You need to be very curious. Entrepreneurs are very curious. They are very inquisitive to find out why things are happening the way they are happening, why things are not taking the course of action the way they should be. So an entrepreneurial mind is someone who looks at changing the status quo. and you're like, let me do something the way differently others are doing it. I would give an example on this case. There was a time when we were growing up and I used to move with my father whenever we are going uphill or downhill to do some activity. And we would be walking, and my father looks at a bush, and he tells me, here there are a lot of beans. Here there are a lot of Irish potatoes.
In a bush.
In the bush. And I'm like, how do you see it? Now that is the ability to see beyond the physical. I mean, he would see it maybe by the shrubs that had grown in a particular place. Then he compares it. He says that probably if I put here beans, they would do better. And the next day, my father would hire workers, slash off the bush, and plant the beans. And less than 3 months later, I'm seeing what he told me. Physically, he said they are what?
Beans.
They are beans or Irish potatoes. And later on, you see that the Irish potatoes actually do exist from there. And his harvest would be very great. So I would think that, to me, to become an entrepreneur, I copied it from my dad. My dad is one of the successful businessmen. Or was one. He's still alive, but he's no longer in active business, but he was one of the successful businessmen in the entire Kigezi region.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now we have one thing that we battle with as young people, and that is the positive attitude, and maintaining this positive attitude amidst the waves of this world. Today, as a way of improving your mindset to thrive through this world, we are demystifying all the myths you have on being an entrepreneur. It is very hard. I can never be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is for those who have money. Entrepreneurship is for those who are born to first-class families and all that. So this evening we are here with Dr. Benita Rumanzi, who is the director of Africa Population Institute, and we're looking at the mindset of an entrepreneur. And before the break, Doctor, I had raised something to do about the ability to maintain a positive attitude. And we look at the post-COVID business, where people's businesses have been swept. Some businesses have closed down. Some businesses are still struggling, whereas other people have been scared to start business. But I want to look at the positive mindset, because we are looking at the mindset of an entrepreneur, and we want to see how this positive attitude is maintained.
I would begin with an example of the teachers. You know, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the schools were the highly hit or highly affected. And
some are no longer in existence.
Actually, education institutions were highly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. But there are some teachers who went and were very innovative. They had to begin some businesses. Yes, some of them were low-class businesses, bricklaying, making chapatis, and sorts of being dry cleaners. But at the end of it all, they never starved. They got what to put on table for their children. And life had to be sustained. And this is the reason why that even when the schools were opened, these people had to continue with their with such kind of businesses. Yes, they are now teaching, but they also have such as side businesses. And some of them right now are well-to-do. So you see, to maintain a positive attitude towards work, will help you to remain innovative and to think on how to survive during times of what? Of trials. I want to use this as an illustration to ponder. You can see about, you can talk about the Karamoja cry. You see what is happening right now in Karamoja. People are dying of hunger, and people have
and as
nothing
we are
to
still
eat.
thinking about Karamoja, now we have places like Bulambuli, places like
Kasese, where there are floods. So
floods.
we have such catastrophes that have come up, and people are suffering. But in that process, when people are suffering, you can decide to become a conduit. A conduit is like a pipe that takes water.
Yeah.
But I'm very much persuaded that a conduit, once it takes water, it will never be dry. As long as it is still taking water to where it is needed, it will never be dry. But the day it is cut off, that's when it dries up. So why am I using this as an illustration to ponder? I want to encourage the young people that even in such a problem of Karamoja, you can still look at an opportunity where you can give a hand, where you can help. There are many NGOs, there are many churches and many people who are providing aid, relief aid. But how to deliver it to the people is also another question. I saw that some roads are impassable and there are a lot of other issues. So what can you do in such a situation as a young person? Yes, by trying to help other people, you also be helped.
In other words, you look at this problem and you look at an opportunity out of this problem.
Every problem is an opportunity for someone to make money. Do you know that how many people made money in COVID? You know how many buildings mushroomed all over because of COVID? I mean, people, like if you are a mask importer, importing mask, how many masks were being sold per day? And even if a mask was sold, I mean, it was, let me say, 1,000, which is like a third $1 at that time. Meaning that 3 masks would make what? A full $1.
Yes.
So if you are selling 3 million masks, because Uganda had 44 million people. So if you are selling 3 million masks, then it means you're making $1 million. Did you realize that? Very little by little, but making money.
And someone would just look at a box of masks and they underrate it and they look at it as
something that is very cheap.
I can't do that.
I can't do that. It is very cheap. But young boys would buy a box at 20,000, and at the end of the day they get what? 70,000. So when you get 70,000, you find that his difference or take home is 50,000 Uganda shillings. That is little. I mean, that is just calculus, pure math.
Yeah.
Where do I have a difference? So if I'm selling two boxes a day, that is 100,000 that I go with. But how many are willing to do that as the young people? They would rather move around and do. So we need to encourage the young people. Like not all of us are gifted to find white-collar jobs, or not all of us are gifted to be placed in organizations. And every year, over 200,000 graduates come on board, and the job market is far much less than that. So that is why I need to encourage the young people. Then, if you involve yourself in agriculture, that is the business that I have seen that everyone can actually participate in.
I remember that the last time you were here with us, you talked about agribusiness, taking on agribusiness as a tool of empowerment, if we are to see a new Africa, a transformed Africa.
Yes. So agribusiness is a tool for everyone to participate, because as long as the earth endures, let me quote Genesis chapter 8 verse 22. It says that as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, summer, winter, and it will never cease. It will forever be there.
Yes.
So meaning that people will never stop moving, and people will never stop looking for food, and people will never stop eating. So if you want something that is very lucrative, invest in food. People will eat whatsoever. People will make sure that they do what? They eat. So You can do a back house, like here in urban. You can do what we call urban farming, back house farming. I have seen people plant tomatoes in on their verandas in the polythene bags, and they are doing very well. Of recent, I visited a family in Mutungo, Bina, and I found that their compound was decorated with cucumbers, tomatoes, and I'm like, first of all, it was acting as a flower. I mean, beautiful compound, but all along it was food, onions everywhere. So I said this was an innovation. You can do that for your personal home consumption, but you can also do it for business purposes. Yeah. You can make money out of it. True. Yeah, so we are here to demystify the myth that money is only when you get a job. Exactly. No, you can still do something and make money. All you need to do is be creative. A creative mind will literally pay you back. And being creative causes being innovative. And to be innovative is thinking outside the box, forgetting about what has been there, forgetting about the old things, and you look at now, this is where the situation has gotten me, and I have to move on. That is what happens.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Benita, for that. And still, as we're looking at what it takes to start a business, as young people, sometimes we think of starting jobs simply because maybe our bosses have annoyed us or have made us overwork. And I think of starting a business because I want to take some rest. So I know when I'm doing my business, I can have some time to relax. I can close and go for a party that my boss stopped me from attending. You know, I can have all that freedom because it is my business. Is this true? Should this be the mindset of an entrepreneur?
And if you go into business with that mindset, mind you, that business will not succeed. Because if you decide to do your own business, then you will have to work much longer than you have been working for another person. You have to invest in much more time than it has been before. So in this case, I say you have to be motivated, self-motivated, that you can even work beyond the normal hours of work.
Are you trying to mean that starting a business shouldn't be for formality? I shouldn't start a business to appease those who thought I will not make it. Now I have my shop, I open up in the morning and I sit and cross my hands.
That one is very dangerous, Edrine.
But this is very dangerous. This is the mindset of
and we are here to change the mindset of the youth.
Exactly.
That if you are working at someone's boutique and you are supposed to open at 8 a.m. and close probably at 4:30, the moment you begin your own boutique, then you will have to open probably at 7 or even before for those early birds, and then you have to close late beyond this for those who are coming late. Because this time, I will quote a book by William Shakespeare. He wrote a book, in his book, Oedipus the King. He said that uneasy lies on a head that wears a crown. For this case, if you decide to start your own business, then you are putting on your own crown. And therefore, that crown is not going to be easier. Right now, if your boss has been thinking of raising your salary, this time it will be you raising your own salary and also raising the salary for the people you are working with. So it is not easy. I'm not discouraging them, I'm not intimidating them, but I'm telling them that the moment you decide to start to make a startup, then be ready for everything. Be ready to put in much more than you can ever put in. I mean, you can get a leave, but if you're working for your own, even during the leave, someone can give you a call and tell you, probably you have to supply this. Will you stay in that leave? You have to run and supply. whatever they are looking for.
In any case, who gives you this leave?
Yeah, if you are working, many young people, if he works for a month or 6 months without a leave, they will say, I've worked for 6 months without a leave. But
I'm
if you are
entitled to a leave.
yes, but if you're working for your own, even at midnight, someone can call you and they need help and you have to supply it.
And they expect you to be awake at that time to their service.
I'm telling you, it is an easy rise on a head that wears what?
A crown.
A crown. I will explain much more on that. So you need to have that resilience and tenacity. Resilience and tenacity, that you are so vigorous in a such a way that when someone, you are the only person who is carrying your business on your head. Other people are like taxi conductors. Are like passengers. And for you, you are the taxi conductor. At the same time, you are the driver. So you make sure if the day goes bad, the loss you carry it upon yourself. But if the day is good, again, you carry the profit on yourself. So that one gives us what we call a term that is called sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship. If you have that one-man business and you are the one who is liable for all the liabilities and all the benefits from that business that you have. But then I would also encourage the young people to seek for partnership. Yeah, if you can't do it alone, then find another person that you trust, that you can work with, and you're able to survive. So taking ownership of what happens is the key. That if the business makes a loss, it's your loss. If the business makes a profit, it's your profit. And therefore, you don't have anyone to point a finger to. You are the one doing it. Therefore, whatever happens, I cannot say, like whatever happens here at Church of Uganda, at Family TV, sometimes even if we make a mistake here, it is the general manager to be appointed.
Out there.
Yes, he's the one to be appointed.
If the error on set, yes, my producer will be pinned.
Yes. And that is it. But now the issue is, how do you take it personal and you own it? Be accountable. And you know that if this thing is not right, then I'm liable. That is the mindset of an entrepreneur. You are not working to whom it may concern, but you are working to make a difference. And when you are working to make a difference, then it is going to help you as an individual and help the people around you.
I see another element coming in what you've just explained. I see an element of commitment. It all tallies with commitment, because accepting to take on this load now that was once your boss's load, now it is your boss and it is your load and you're someone's boss. So all the expectations you had in your boss are now the expectations people have in you. Wow. We are with Dr. Benita. Dr. Benita taking us through a very interesting topic that most of us have been waiting for. And this is the mindset of an entrepreneur. But we are basically looking at what it takes to start a business. What does it take to be
Welcome to
an
Issues
entrepreneur?
at Hand.
Do you want to be one? Yes, we first of all started with the mindset of an entrepreneur, and I believe Dr. Benita has exhaustively fulfilled your expectations. And in this last part of this program, Doctor, we now want to get to now what it takes to start a business. Do I need to have much capital? Do I need to have a lot of connections? What does it take to start a business?
Okay, thank you very much, Edrine. It all begins with the saving. The savings. I believe that all of us always get some little money here and there So it depends on how much you have saved. But I want to assure you, Edwin, that if I have only 100,000 Uganda shillings, and that is the only money that is on my disposal, as an entrepreneur, I can begin with this. And likewise, if I have 100 million shillings, as an entrepreneur, I can still use that to begin a business.
Are there specific businesses that we align this money to? For example, if I have 100,000 shillings, I can take on this business or the other. And if I have 100 millions, because I want to be an entrepreneur, I can now invest in such and such a business. Or there is another logic behind all this.
Okay, as the saying goes, that experience is the best teacher.
Yes.
Of course, you cannot begin 100 million business when you have not managed the 100,000 one.
I can hit a lottery and then
yes,
a jackpot, and
that is why most of the people who always hit the jackpot, at the end of the day, they go back to their original state of poverty after some time. But people who have started naturally, grown their business slowly, they end up becoming maritime millionaires. You cannot just begin with real estate as a business. Real estate needs someone who has experience. Experience is far much better than capital. Is more than capital. I can have experience of working for you for some time, and then that experience I can transfer it to my own business.
In other words, this experience can be my capital.
Yes, because I will see or look at the mistakes you have done as an individual, and then those mistakes will teach me that if I can do it different, I will be able to benefit or go forward. So they say only fools learn on their own mistakes, but others learn from other people's mistakes. So now look at this scenario. You have saved a little money, and you have no other option. If what I have is only 100,000, and it is the only thing I have genuinely, I can still begin with what I have. So that is why we need to look at the mindset. As an entrepreneur, change your mindset. What can 100,000 do? So do you think like the young people who were selling masks at that time, they invested in 10 million shilling? No. All you needed was to get 100,000, buy 5 boxes and begin with that. But now that one, COVID is no longer a business venture. But let's look at what 100,000 can do. If I started making pancakes, don't you think I will be able to use this 100,000 as my startup capital? So now I'm not advising to go and start making pancakes, but I can still advise someone who is probably somewhere and is constrained. He has nothing to do.
Yes.
So I would say, if right now, Edrine, you got me as an individual, took me to a foreign land where I don't know, where I have never been before, probably the first thing to do is look at what I can do. Maybe I can start washing people's clothes. And then after washing people's clothes, then I will get a place and hire a place and then make it what? Become a Adobe. Adobe, a dry cleaner. And I can develop my business to be a multi-million business later on. But beginning with that. If you took me to another foreign country where I don't know anyone there, I don't have any academic qualification that I have to present there, still I will begin with what is available. There is a scenario that I want to leave with the people here on the set, that you can use what you have to get what you don't have, or use what you have to create what you don't have. What do you have? You are healthy. You are strong, you are energetic. Use that. Look at it in an entrepreneur kind of perspective to make business, and you will literally make it. Even if I started digging in someone's farm, I can still dig in someone's farm, but at the end of the day, I can buy my own what?
Lamb.
Sheep or lamb, and put it there as I continue taking care of my master's lambs, and there I develop. So I'm not really, I'm beginning very small, because we are looking at the African youth that have been left behind, that have run to the Middle East and the other countries to look for jobs, and they have been harassed and tortured there.
Or if they successfully work, they send their money and the relatives misuse them.
And the relatives misuse them. Can you come back with that money that you've made, say 10 million, and think of what to do with that money? So I think Young and Flourishing, they have like a portal where people can always ask questions and say, I have this sort of money and this is what I want to do. Or you need a business idea or a technical guidance on what you want to do. Let me first finish these points before the time runs.
Yes.
I have 3 more points that I wanted to give a mind of an entrepreneur. One is, you need, as an entrepreneur, you need to be very persuasive. You need to persuade the people you work with to work for you. You need to persuade the people you need to sell to your product. You need to persuade the situation around you to bow down before you and work for you. So the ability to persuade, it should come naturally to you as an entrepreneur.
Is it inborn, or I can adopt it and then it becomes part of me?
You can adopt it because it has to come naturally. You can't say tewe guya, because you don't know which kind of person is going to put your business down. Everyone is important to you. So you try to behave like you are a fool, but when you know what you want. In most cases, entrepreneurs, people come and they try to, I don't know the term I can use there, but try like to steal from them. Someone tries like to do things behind their back. But at the end of the day, if it is discovered, even if you take all the money he has, as long as he still has the brain that made the first coin, he will still make the second coin, and he will still survive. So now another point is being receptive to anything that comes. Receptive.
Good or bad?
Whatever, I mean, situations will always come. Bad situations, good situations, they will always come. But when they come to you, how you deal with such matters most. Actually, I would term it as crisis management. The ability to manage crisis. There is a personal crisis that is from within, and there is a crisis that comes when it is beyond your control as an individual. So if it comes beyond your control, what do you do? How do you respond to it? It matters much more as an entrepreneur. You need to know how to handle every situation that comes your way, instead of allowing it to break you. Then the last one will be the ability to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. An entrepreneur, the reason why they solve problems, they first look at the problem or people who are problematic, then they put themselves in their shoes and they say, if I got this, it would help me if I was in that situation. An entrepreneur will go ahead to create that situation for the person in need. I would also use an example. In other words,
in order to be an entrepreneur, you should be empathetic.
Yes, empathetic. And whatever you do it with passion. You do it with passion as if you're doing it for your grandmother, whom you love most. So now put yourself in the shoes of that person who needs your service. Put yourself in the shoes of that person who is working for you or who is working with you. Put yourself in the shoes of that person who is in a problem. So a case reference, I would use an example, like if you have the HR skills, human resource skills, you need to know when someone who has been productive at the workplace, all of a sudden they become unproductive. you need to, instead of blaming them or putting a question mark on what they are doing, first discover their work-life balance. We call it work-life balance. If he's not at home, do you know it is hard to work with someone who has domestic violence at home?
Yes.
When they come to the workplace, they come with all of that.
The frustration
to the workplace. And you don't expect them to be productive.
Yeah.
Until you dig deeper and you know what affects them. And when you know what affects them, then you know on which angle to cancel them or to tackle their problem, and then get the good use of them, get the best out of them. And with that, as an entrepreneur, you will basically survive all the waves of life, and you will waver and soar high and become successful.
And what it takes to be to start a business is adopting the entrepreneur's mindset. Wow. So Dr. Benita, we have around 2 or 3 minutes to complete, to finish up, to wrap up this whole discussion. What are your closing remarks on this subject of what it takes to start a business, and basically looking at the mindset of an entrepreneur as you have developed it to the ears of our viewer?
Oh yes, viewers, our audience tonight, I believe that what we've shared should be very important to you, because when you look at a scenario, everyone needs money. Actually, we need money, and money, you can only get it when you are in business. Yes, the money we get from workplaces where we are employed, yeah, it is also there, but you can use that also to start up something. I'm not saying that you should also go into these other network marketing. Me, I have a phobia with it, but many people like that, and that's how they dupe people. I had a friend of mine, he was working outside the country, and when he came back with a lot of money. And when he reached here and he was looking at which business to invest in, there was this buffet who told him that you can invest in poles of electricity. I mean, actually, there are like 3 friends of mine who have been duped because of that. Poles of electricity, that you can go and buy poles in Bunyoro and then put them on a truck and bring them here and then sell them to you EB or you EDCR. And I'm like, really? And they have all been cheated. One got a loan and invested it in that, and it also went. So it is good that before you begin any business, look at a business consultant, ask them. There are some questions that you may not understand as an individual, but when you ask those who have gone before you or ahead of you, they will be able to help you on how to go about it. So viewers, please don't be cheated, don't be conned by anyone. All you have to do, the Flourishing Hub is there. Sabit Herbert is always available. I believe that his number is tagged with the Flourishing Hub. Or you can always ask him at his Ridgeline, and he will help you how to begin such a business based on the resources that are available, and you will not be duped. Another one who has cheated, I will also say it.
Our time is running out, and we may not talk about that one.
Okay,
but since you're part of us, we shall talk about that one next time. Others, thank you so much for this wonderful evening. And to you, our viewer, thank you so much for being part of this program this evening. And next on your screen is Issues at Hand. I remain Edrine Osteen Mukalazi. Good night.